Hey there folks, this is Misadventure here for an update video on the Carpetania campaign, as well as a lot of personal and channel updates. Now this is probably the most complicated video I've ever tried to make on this channel. I have a lot of information I need to give to you, but it's hard to organize, and I think the best way to do it is to actually go through chronologically from late June until the present day. I'm recording this video in a rare, basically real-time recording situation. I'm recording this video on August 13th, the day before it's supposed to go live. So I'm basically giving you the actual real-time timeline from late June until now. But before I do any of that, I do want to give you the main takeaway of this video pretty early on, just so that everyone is on the same page. So that if you just want to get the info about what's going on with the Carpetania campaign, I can do that first. So the Carpetania campaign, I'm sorry to announce, has actually been retired. Episode 21 is going to be the final episode that launches on the channel, and the campaign will not continue after that. That's the episode that came out a couple of days ago. So I'm sorry about how abrupt this news must feel, because you just got episode 21 a couple of days ago, and the campaign was going great. A big part of the story of this video is that episode 21 is basically, when I recorded that video, is the start of the timeline that I'm talking about in late June. For the last month and a half, I've been deciding what to do about this situation that I'll talk about in a moment. But basically, let's go now to the timeline and just present all the information chronologically, because I think that's my best chance of making this coherent to somebody other than me. So in late June, I knew one thing for sure, and I learned something new. So that's the first thing to know. The thing that I knew for sure is that the bar exam was coming up in a couple of weeks. I've talked it before that I'd been preparing for the bar exam. Over the course of the Carpetania campaign, I was sort of multitasking, doing that and my bar prep. And around the time of episode 21 in late June, I was deciding to basically wind down my recording sessions and focus on studying for the last couple weeks, right? Seems only reasonable. And episode 21 was such a great high point for me in feeling like I was achieving some success in the Carpetania campaign that I thought this is a good moment to kind of take that break and focus on the bar exam for a couple weeks. And my thinking at the time was, after the bar exam, after I take a week to maybe recover, because it's 2 6-hour, really it's 4 3-hour testing increments over 2 days. Very, very, very mentally and physically intensive. And you need basically a week after it to do anything because you're so exhausted. But I thought, okay, after I recover from the bar exam, I'll get back to the Carpetania campaign. My episodes I already knew at that point were scheduled to keep releasing bi-weekly until the middle of August, basically where I am now. So I knew I had plenty of time to recover and then get back to the campaign. That was the plan basically throughout the course of the Carpetania campaign. But in late June, what I learned is that Imperator Invictus, the main mod that I've been using in the campaign, was going to be updated in the middle of July. So I'm in late June looking at the Steam page, the Steam Workshop page, and seeing that Invictus 1.4 was coming out in the middle of July. So I'm taking the bar exam in late July, but Invictus is updating in middle July, and I'm currently, in this point in the timeline, in late June. So what I realize is that when Invictus updates, it's actually possible that my save game won't work because it's a major update to 1.3 something to 1.4. The geography of the map is changing, which in my experience is a major issue for when a mod updates and changes map geography. Previous save games with the old map geography get kind of weird with Paradox games. Also, I'm playing with other mods that are reliant on Invictus, like the Invictus version of INR, which they would have to update also for my save game to work at all. And once they updated, since that's adding even more terrain changes with rivers and whatnot, I was just worried that all these mods updating would leave my save game either unstable, not working at all, or having some possible hidden but not noticeable stability problems that would kind of get me nervous because, of course, I'm playing an Iron Man save game. And generally speaking, the best practice has, for me, over my years of playing games modded, start new campaigns, start new characters whenever you have a major mod update. So I was kind of realizing that in late June, seeing the update on the, I don't know if it was updated then, but I saw it for the first time in late June, around the time of episode 21. So I finished episode 21. I already knew that I needed to take this break for the bar exam for a couple weeks, and then I learned again, I learn that 1.4 of Invictus is coming out in even sooner than that, within a couple weeks. And so I make the decision at that point that the smartest thing to do is to actually not just take a break from the Carpetania campaign, but basically permanently retire the campaign with episode 21, which was, as I said, a very triumphant moment in the campaign, at least for me. So I made that decision at that point. I do still think it was the right decision, and that would be the end of the video if nothing else happened after that, but a lot of stuff has happened after that, so the timeline continues. So now we're in early July. I start to attempt to make this video. So I've been trying to make this video for basically a month and a half, and I'm struggling to kind of make the video coherent, and I basically keep putting it off until now. But either way, so we're in early July, and then we're in mid-July, and 1.4 drops. I don't actually ever know if my save game would have been compatible or not. I basically abandoned the save game, and I actually start working on a new campaign, which I had originally planned to basically launch after the bar exam, or really after the Carpetania campaign had finished releasing on my channel. I then start a new campaign, which I spent several dozen hours playtesting and preparing. I'm not going to talk about that new campaign in this video that much, because it will come up later in the future, but I was basically working on new stuff for the channel to do after the Carpetania campaign. And at this point, my thinking was, once 1.4 dropped, so when 1.4 dropped, I started working on this new campaign that would be with 1.4, so I don't need to worry about the update screwing it up. And so basically, middle of July, 1.4 drops, I start working on this new campaign, and the bar exam is approaching. So I take my break. I'm taking a break from recording, but because for me, playtesting and playing without recording is a lot easier than playing while recording. So I can play without recording and do playtesting while I'm also bar prepping. So I figured that was okay. So either way, so late July, the plan basically is still after the bar exam, I'll really get to work on this new campaign idea. And then in mid-August, after the Carpetania campaign, I'll have a version of this video where I announce the Carpetania campaign has retired and then announce my new campaign. And then I'll start releasing the new campaign that I've been working on since mid-July. But in late July, I do the bar exam. I've talked a little bit about this exam before. I don't want to talk too much in this video about that experience, but it was a harrowing experience mentally and physically, despite being someone who, as you can probably tell, is, I'm a pretty sharp guy. I don't want to just big myself up too much, but I know that I'm smart. I know that I'm an intelligent person, and the bar exam destroyed me. It was such a exhausting experience because in my jurisdiction, it is 4 3-hour tests over the course of 2 days. You take 2 back-to-back 3-hour tests on day 1 and day 2, and in my jurisdiction, at least, the first day involves the first 3 hours is you write 6 essays, and then the second 3 hours is you write 2 larger essays, basically. And then the second day is 200 multiple choice question tests back to back. And these are like multiple paragraph, multiple choice questions. And they're not like yes or no questions, right? These are the dreaded, which one of these 4 answers is the best answer for the call of the question type questions. So yeah, the bar exam has a reputation for being very hard, and it lives up to it, at least in my experience. So after the bar exam, I was exhausted. My family came to visit me, and that was really great. I had really good kind of support from my family, and that was really appreciated. But I basically, I knew I needed to take a week or something to kind of, relax and get my breath again, because I was so worn out. It's physically tiring as well as mentally as well. I was sore. I was struggling to fall asleep. It was bad. And then, of course, there's the stress about the bar, but I'll talk about that later. So it's late July. I'm recovering from the bar exam, and I decide, you know what, I think I'm ready to start working on that new campaign again. Again, the one that I plan to have released after the Carpetania campaign in mid-August. However, then something rather unexpected happens. Now, I haven't really talked about this because, of course, I don't just talk about everything in my personal life on this channel. I'm pretty selective about what I share to all of you. But for the last couple months, I had been applying to a job with a law firm. Now, I'm not a licensed attorney. If you don't know how this works, which is fair because it is complicated, the way this works is in America and in the state that I live in, if you get a law school degree, you don't get to be an attorney right away. I wish that you would. That would actually be, I think, a bit more fair. But you have to take the bar exam, and then the bar association of your state has to let you into the association. Think of it like a guild. They get to let people in if they want them to be let in. Now, the way it works, because it's standardized, is they let in basically anybody, with a few exceptions, who passes the bar exam. So when people talk about passing the bar, that's what they're talking about. You pass, which is to say you don't fail the bar exam, and then the bar association of the state you took the bar exam in looks at your, like, they do a background check and they do a character and fitness evaluation. Most people pass it. That's not a huge deal. And there's also another step I did before the bar exam called the MPRE, which is an ethics test. I took that, I passed that, it's fine. But basically the idea would be, if I pass the bar exam, which in my jurisdiction, in my state, I get my bar results in late September. So if I pass the bar exam, the bar association of my state would basically invite me to join them. Upon joining them and getting my bar number, I would then be sworn in as a licensed attorney. Now, I'm already a lawyer, as it were. A lawyer just means somebody who learns or talks about the law or is kind of interested in the law. The key word here is attorney. Attorney is a licensed position. Most people say lawyer when they mean attorney, so I don't mean to make a big deal about the differences. But technically speaking, law students are lawyers, paralegals are lawyers, but only licensed members of the bar are attorneys. Now, this all matters because practicing law, if you're not an attorney, is illegal. Don't do it. And law students get in big trouble if they practice law if they're not a licensed attorney. Again, it's like being a doctor. If you're not a licensed medical doctor, if you practice medicine, you get in trouble. And everyone's aware that that's bad, right? So at least most people are aware of that. So in my state, however, and some other jurisdictions have this as well, there is a certification program that I was involved in where I can basically ask the state Supreme Court, hey, I've passed this ethics test, the MPRE, and I am about to graduate law school, or I've recently graduated law school. Can you give me permission to practice law under attorney supervision until I get my law license? And in my state, the way that certification works is if they certify you, they do a background check, of course, you are allowed to practice law with an attorney supervisor under certain circumstances with the consent of the court and your client and some other stuff up until 12 months after your law school graduation while waiting for your bar results. And I got that certification. So as of right now, Misadventurer is allowed to practice law while under attorney supervision. Now, that means I'd have to be working at a firm, because, of course, if I just went off to start my own law practice, I wouldn't have a supervisor. So this is basically designed for people who have been clerking at a law firm or otherwise getting hired at a law firm so that they can start working as an attorney kind of before they get their bar results. And the certificate is good until 12 months after your law school graduation. For me, that's in May of 23. So I have basically until May of 2023 to get a law license for no problem to happen. Now, we're in late July, and now we're in early August. And this is where the really big twist happens in this whole story. Because what I've been thinking at this point is, I need to wait until after September when my bar results come out. And at that point, I'll start looking for jobs, and once I have a law license, and then I'll get hired, and then I'll start my life as an adult, as an attorney. However, I had been applying to a job over the course of my bar prep, kind of as a long shot. This was sort of a dream job, long shot situation where this was a defense firm, because I want to do criminal defense as my main area of practice. And they're in a nearby town. My bar mentor from my law school had basically told me, hey, this guy who runs this place is an alum of our law school. I think you should go check it out. I know that they're offering a job right now for what's called a staff attorney, basically an attorney who works for a firm. And they'd be willing to hire you with your certificate. They basically be willing to hire you as an attorney with a full attorney salary and all the other benefits of being an attorney, working as an attorney, doing law, practicing law, just under supervision while your certificate is in effect. And then once you pass the bar, you'd be able to work there with no supervisor, right? So I applied to this job. It was a long shot. I thought there's no way they'd hire me. I have almost no experience in law firms. I really was just planning to get my bar certification the normal way, right? Even though I have this certificate, I was planning to get my bar license and then start applying for jobs and sort of do that the normal rigmarole of that. However, in early August, the big twist of the story, they offered me a job at this place. And I was floored. I thought, what? Like, why do they want to hire me? I thought I was unhireable with my lack of experience. I don't know if I've ever really talked about this, but I'm actually quite young. I'm only, at the time that I'm recording this, 25. So that's very young to be an attorney. I'm basically one of the youngest people in my law school to have graduated at that age. So not like the youngest in the universe, but like I'm on the younger side. Most law students are in their late 20s or older. Most attorneys are at least 30 or so. And a big part of this is because I'm what's called a K through JD, which means kindergarten through Juris Doctor. I did not take a break throughout after high school or during college or after college to do any gap years. I plowed through my education all the way through until law school as fast as I could, basically. And essentially, this job offer changed everything about my life projection. I had thought I would have until late September to basically chill out and do stuff for the channel and work on the new campaign and basically just recover from the bar exam very leisurely and sort of take my first sort of vacation ever. And then late September, when I got my bar results, which I still will get them in late September, I could then go ahead and start applying to jobs and do that whole thing. And that would take a while. That would take months as well. So I thought I'd have a long time to basically leisurely work on stuff on the channel and stuff in my personal life. But then this job offer comes to me right after the bar, less than a week after I take the bar exam. Again, before I get my bar results, before I'm a licensed attorney, but while I'm under the effect of this certificate that lets me practice law with a supervisor. Basically, I'm like an attorney in training, basically, with my certificate. And so ultimately, I accept this offer because this is basically my dream job. It's in a town that I like, that I have family living in. I actually have elderly relatives that live in this town that I want to move closer to kind of support and be close by since they have a lot of medical issues. And it's at a firm that I like. It has a great offering of what they pay and the benefits they bring. I've been living check to check for all of law school. I'm going to fully admit that. I've been living check to check. I've worked at my law library, earning minimum wage for part-time, and it's been bad, right? I've had a lot of financial troubles behind the scene. And they were offering me, I'm not going to say the amount, but they were offering me like a competitive attorney's salary as somebody who isn't a licensed lawyer. And again, normally speaking, that would be illegal. But in my state, I am, according to the state Supreme Court, able to practice law and be hired by a firm to practice law as long as I'm supervised. It's all perfectly legal. It's all perfectly above board. And at the end of the day, this firm wouldn't have hired me if there was any legal risk with doing so, because, of course, it's a firm run by lawyers. They know this stuff, right? So I was overjoyed. I was completely just flabbergasted that they would go for me. And it was a huge confidence booster because after the bar exam, of course, I wasn't feeling too good about my prospects as being a lawyer. So ultimately, I accepted this offer and they wanted me to start right away. And so I've actually, as I'm recording this video now, I've just finished my first week there. And I can't even begin to describe how good it is. I have never felt so good about the direction of my life. I'm working full-time in an office in a professional setting. I'm going to court every day to shadow other attorneys and to kind of see how the process works. It is just everything I ever wanted the whole time I was in law school, doing a kind of law that puts me in court, is really focused on the court experience, and gets me prepared to be a great criminal defense attorney. And so with that all in mind, what I've realized is I don't feel like I'm in the right position to start working on the new campaign quite yet, because it's now we're in like mid-August, right, on the timeline. I see that my Carpetania campaign releases are basically, they're running up to the end with episode 21, and I still don't know exactly how to communicate to you all, hey, this campaign has concluded, but I sort of don't feel ready to make this next campaign yet because I've started working. It's a lot of, it's 8 to 5 every day. Like, it's a very involved job that I can't like go home and do stuff. Because the other thing too is I'm still living in the town that my law school is in, but I'm now working full time in this other town an hour away. I'm staying with my family in the town during the week, and then on the weekends I come back to my house in my original town. I am in the process of moving to the new town fully. And here's basically, now that this video is coming to a close and the timeline's coming to a close, here's basically what I want to tell you about what's going to happen next on the channel in light of these changes in my life. So here's what's going to happen. When I move to this new house in the new town fully and I get my desktop computer set up there, I will start working again on the new campaign and release it. But until that point, I'm just not in a position to work on something new up to the standard that I want for this channel and release it on the channel, even though I'm about to run out of time with the Carpetania campaign now coming to an end and this video using up one of those release slots. What I'm going to do is take a brief hiatus of possibly a couple of weeks, probably no more than a month or two, as I get moved into this new town. Once I'm settled and situated in my new house, I will be completely... because every night then, right, because at the moment I'm not in a place on weeknights where I have access to my desktop computer. I'm with my family in my family's house, right? But basically, once I get moved into the new house, I will start working on the new campaign and basically come back from my hiatus when I feel ready to. But until then, I will take this hiatus just to help me adjust to the new situation. I'm just not in a position right now to work on the new campaign and get it prepared in time. But I think after explaining it over the course of this very long video, very information-packed video, I'm sure all of you understand why this decision makes sense for me. I really don't want to screw around with my attention to this new job and trying to work on Imperator Rome stuff. I love this channel, but as I've always said throughout the course of this channel, this is a hobby for me. It's a hobby I care about quite a bit, probably more than I should, but I'm actually working and I'm doing real adult stuff now. And I've got to prioritize that, and I'm sure all of you are understanding of that. This is a channel where I've always focused on using it to express myself, whether it be through my Imperator Rome content or my mashup music that I've made on the channel here and there. To me, this channel is about giving myself an outlet from the very involved work that I do in my real life with my real identity, and that's what I want to continue seeing this channel as. So I need to always make decisions that prioritize my well-being and my future proofing for my personal life over the channel, even if it means taking a little hiatus, kind of in this sort of abrupt way from your point of view. But again, the point of this video is to contextualize it and show you that over the course of the last month and a half, I've been grappling with a bunch of stuff happening really quickly that's left me basically struggling to make an update video like this up until now. So that's essentially the extent of this video. I'm sorry for how much information was in here, but I hope that it did give you the context for why I've chosen to, and that's the big announcement at the end of this video, is that I've chosen to take this hiatus. This video was hopefully organized okay. Again, as I said, this was a very hard video to basically plan to make. I was doing this all off the top of my head, so I hope that it was coherent. Once I watch it back, I think I'll probably feel better about it. But thank you all so much for watching this update video, and this is now going to be, I'm officially declaring the beginning of my brief hiatus as I get moved into this new town. Once I do get moved in, I'll start working on the new campaign again, and within a couple weeks, you can expect to see the first episode of a brand new campaign here on the channel, and may also release some more mashup music. I don't know if anyone in my audience likes to watch those, but I really like making those, so may work on that a little bit on the side. But if I'm working on that, don't think that I'm doing that instead of Imperator Rome. I'm clearly, as you can probably tell, a huge fan of Imperator Rome, and I'm not going to be leaving this game behind anytime soon. This is absolutely the main thing I want to do on the channel still, is work on Imperator Rome content. But recording content and planning for it just takes a level of involvement that I'm not in a position to do right now. So that's basically the update video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the first episode of the brand new campaign. See you all next time.